Hey. Hey. All right. Hey. Hey, we took a long fucking break. All right. Hey, man, we were balling. I was balling. I was balling. It came at a cost, ladies and gentlemen. It came at a goddamn cost. But we are back. Balling at what cost? Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just call this season 2. Okay, we're gonna revamp things from now on. Okay, we're gonna start doing things different. Okay, we're gonna come in with a fucking different attitude. Because fuck, man. I'll tell you what, I took this break. I feel like I needed it. I really do. I feel like if I would have kept on going, with the weekly uploads, I would have hit some kind of moot point, which I already kind of did. Thank God I was focused on other things. It wasn't like I just stopped doing everything. It was more that I was doing so many other things that I was all right. Let me take a break from recording this. And hey, man, it doesn't mean that I took a break from following along the athletes that are balling out all over the world, all over in different sports leagues. I've still been following along, same passion as before, but man, I just had to take a little step back from things, man. I felt like at least the last few episodes, the energy changed a little bit. I feel like I got a little distracted, whatever the fuck. And I mean, I was. There was so many things on my mind that I had to first get those things in check. But we're back, man. We're back. I was so excited, because I decided, pretty much at the start of the week, I was just like, okay, this is as long as of a break I'm gonna take from recording this Ballin' at What Cost episodes, and and I made the decision. I'm gonna record it. It's Thursday, 1st of fucking June. We're kicking off the goddamn summer with the episode, okay? This is the commitment right here. This is the summer 2023 season of Ballin' at What Cost. I'm listing it. This is the fucking title. This is revamped, redesigned. I'm going to try new things. This is not going to be what it was before. Okay? We're going to come up. I'm not trying to act like, okay, I'm going to list all of these new ideas. I don't really know yet. Okay, but we're going to change it up. We're going to try to include other footage, so it's not just me talking here for an hour 15. Although today that's what we're sticking with, because I want the feeling back again, man. I want that fucking feeling back. Jesus Christ, I mean, so many things has happened in the sports world that I can't even fucking fathom. I can't even fucking, the NBA is just, I don't even know what the hell the NBA is anymore, to be honest. I just don't. I'm going to get into that. UFC, honestly, UFC has, in my opinion, been a little lackluster. I've watched a few. Dude, to be honest, actually, since the break, I think there's only been 2 pay-per-views. Realistically. And I know I did release a Vin and I episode, and we did a little bit of a UFC watch party there, so a little bit sports related. But it was so little of the actual watch party. It was more just us talking shit, and then there was something in front of our eyes, and it wasn't a pay-per-view, so it was just a fight night. Was a pretty entertaining one, but we were just talking shit, so we kind of missed out on all the action. And then just to talk about that event, it's just it's kind of insane that Jailton Almeida I forgot what episode I talked about him. But, dude, I already put him, like, high up when I talked about him last time. And then he was the main event. Yeah, he was the main event against Rosenstrike that evening. And, yeah, that dude just didn't throw a single strike, I don't think. I don't think Almeida threw a single strike. Went for the takedown. Got the takedown. I don't even think there was 2 minutes. A little over a minute on the floor. Bam, bam, bam. Rosenstrike got strangled by Almeida. Done deal. That was the fucking main event. Done in the first round. Jailton Almeida, man, if he can work on his striking a little bit more, just so that he's not in danger when the fighter's on their feet, I wouldn't be surprised future heavyweight champion, really, because he's still got like a good amount of years in his career left. You know, like I said, John Jones is gonna be probably around for quite a while. You know, I'd say still like a good 2 years if there's enough competition for him. So then, you know, given that prediction of mine, I think 2-3 years, and then Giles and Almeida is going to be there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Because I'm tripping out. I almost got to check my own YouTube channel because I think I talked about Israel Adesanya getting the win back from getting the title back and destroying Alex Pereira, which is a topic of its own, because really, like, I feel like that's one of those storylines or whatnot that you don't really like. Everyone's kind of made it clear that the trilogy fight is like, it's not gonna happen, at least anytime soon. Alex Pereira doesn't want to make 185 anymore. It's too much for him. He's fighting Blachowicz. I forget when. Sometime during the summer. Was it towards the end of the summer? He's fighting Jan Blachowicz in light heavyweight. Let me see. Upcoming. Where is it? Is this anywhere here? I don't know. He's definitely not main event. I think he might be co-main event or something like that. But anyways, yeah. So any discussion about that stuff, it's like, it's out of the question, really, unless if Israel Adesanya defends it once or twice and then he's really bored, wants a bigger paycheck from just defending the title from 185ers again and again, which he's known for doing. I mean, he's just fucking a master at. He is fucking pretty damn legendary when it comes to the middleweight division. But at the end of the day, if he ends up like defending the title as many times as Anderson Silva or more, then I really do think he's got to be put up there above Anderson Silva, because it's just like, dude, the way he freaking took the belt back it really is out of a movie script. So all props to Israel Adesanya for that. And at the end of the day, he defeated a bigger guy and arguably stronger guy. So okay, but anyways, I'm getting a little off topic when it comes to that. I think I did. Yeah, I talked about the build-up. Damn. Okay, so I talked about the build-up, but I never talked about what ended up happening. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't think I need to talk too much about what happened. Yeah. Israel Adesanya did exactly the same thing as he did in the first fight, except this time he did it perfectly. It was literally the same strikes, same combo that he hurt Alex Pereira with at the end of the second round in the first fight. But then now he just did the same thing, pretty much like tricked Alex Pereira into rope-a-doping him or cornering him, and then just perfected the timing that Israel Adesanya is so good at. He perfected it, pretty much tricked him. Bam, bam, knocked Alex Pereira out cold. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gotta learn from your mistakes, and Alex Pereira didn't, and Israel Adesanya did. At least out of the two fights the two bouts they've had. So, sure, it would be interesting to see a trilogy fight, because then you want to see if Pereira has that championship mindset of, like improving himself. But at the same time, he does have a good amount of tools to begin with, right? I mean, he is that damn strong and scary with his strikes that, maybe in 205 when he doesn't have to cut all the weight and all that and feel depleted, he could just go ahead and just do the same thing and no one else has an answer, So let's see. I mean, I feel like the matchup he has next with Jan Blachowicz, it's a very good matchup. It's a really damn good matchup. Jan Blachowicz is a tough one. I'd argue that if anyone can eat one of his left hooks, then it would be him. Like, genuinely. Like, out of everyone in 205, you know what? Yeah. Like, yeah. I'd say so. So, that's my analysis. But the reason why I wanted to get into the UFC to begin with was because of one man and one man only. This man is fighting as a main event for a UFC fight night in Las Vegas in the UFC Apex this Saturday or Sunday morning, Saturday evening. Kai Kara France, okay? There is a common consensus. Nobody gives a fuck about the flyweight division. There's Brandon Moreno and there's Figueiredo, but Figueiredo, after losing the fourth fight, the quadrilogy, he lost it. And Brandon Moreno took the belt back. He's not gonna make 125 ever again. He's gonna go up to 135 to the bantamweight division, which it's always like I'd argue that other than those Dagestanis, like fighting at your like natural weight class is much better, or at least like not having to cut crazy amounts is always gonna be better. But who knows? There is a lot of big guys in the 135 division nowadays. So, and Figueiredo, he's got the speed and all that, and I'm sure he has the talent. But 135 is very, very competitive right now, like much more competitive than 125. And listen. Kai Kara France is a fucking legend. Okay, this guy's a fucking savage. Okay, I should be technically wearing his goddamn shirt right now, which I'm not wearing, which is a big, big mistake by me. But I'll make it up when I watch the actual fight. I'll be repping his shirt, KKF. I have his clothing line. It was a damn well designed t-shirt. I love that fucking t-shirt. It's probably the best white t-shirt I've ever bought. It was pricey, but it was the best fucking quality t-shirt I think I've ever bought in my life. So it's fucking, this guy knows what at least this guy with the business, he knows what he's doing. On top of the fact that, man, he's this Kiwi fucking savage of a fucking guy. Okay, listen. He's number 3 right now in the flyweight division. He had a shot at gold against Brandon Moreno. And to be honest, Brandon Moreno was the better man that night. I watched the fight. It was a heartbreaker for me. I was rooting all in for Kai Kara France, and Brandon Moreno, the slick Mexican bastard that he is. He landed a perfect, I think, left low kick to the body, just perfectly to the liver. Got Kai Kara, like, caught him perfectly. You couldn't do anything about it. Kind of like just all the respect to Brandon Moreno for being that talented, because I would argue that Kai Don't Blink Kara France is the hardest hitting 125er. Most likely ever. Okay, this guy is fucking so strong for 125. It's kind of nuts. Okay, he's been in the UFC since, let's see, 2018 was his UFC debut. He's a young fella. Okay, he's 29 years old. He has a pretty long reach, actually. He has he has like a very sturdy build and quite long arms for a 125er. He's just so hard. He hits so damn hard, man. It's kind of nuts. He throws with a lot, like he throws with a lot of intention and power. Okay. And he's let's see. I can't see right here. It's really weird. He has like 4 fights that don't show if he's won or lost. A little bit weird. UFC, come on, fix that real quick. But anyways, leading up to the Brandon Moreno fight, he was on a streak. He was doing really, really well. He TKO'd Cody Garbrandt, ran through everyone else that were contenders, climbed his way up. I mean, wait, hold up. Wait, hold up. Stop it now. Stop it. Yeah, I think Brandon Moreno has had his number twice now, which is kind of insane because it doesn't show here. What the hell? UFC, fix your shit. Jesus. Anyways, I don't feel like I need to talk too much because I believe him. This is one. Don't let size fool you, okay? I say that all the time to the ladies about my fucking soldier down there, okay? Don't let the size fool you, okay? Fucking, there's a lot of power and passion, okay? Where it's coming from, you know? Okay? Fucking, Kai Kara France, man. I think he had, and the way this guy carries himself, man, he's always talking about, improving and always talking about bettering himself. I mean, that's what a real champion is. It's not that you get, and to be honest, I think that if he didn't get caught by Brandon Moreno's left kick, there's a very good chance that the decision could have maybe gone his way. I think there is he needs to maybe work on a little bit of his timing, maybe a little bit, like with the combos, because he strikes with so much power, right? So that every time he misses, or it's kind of easy for like a high level guy like Moreno to then find a spacing with the timing, with the counter strike, So I think if Kai Kara France kind of like switches up the game a little bit of letting the opponent approach him, and then he is more on the works on the counters, because I think Kai Kara France, he's super aggressive, and it's worked out for him for quite a while. But then you get to the top level with like Brandon Moreno or something like that, and to be honest, I think if he with this matchup right now that he has against bam 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 Amir Albazi, which is and Albazi. Whew, I'll tell you, this guy is one strong guy as well. Okay, fighting out of Iraq. I mean, this guy is definitely like jacked. Okay, probably cuts a little bit more weight than Kai Kara France does. He's got an inch on him. Yeah, a little bit heavier, like by a pound. Last time they went in, at least. And he's got an impressive record. This guy, Amir Albazi, 16-1. Let's dip into his stats real quick. 5 wins by knockout, 9 wins by submission. So this guy definitely has a little bit more grappling experience than our boy freaking Kai Kara France. But he's new to the game. He had his debut in 2020, and he's had 4 fights in the UFC so far. Won every single one of them. So he's 4-0 in the UFC. And same age, 29 years old. Same as our boy Kai Kara France. But yeah, he's... I'm telling you, man, it's... Okay, so this guy's originally fighting... Like, he started MMA in, like, Sweden. Okay. Purple belt in jiu-jitsu, very impressive. But yeah, anyways, it's a bit of a scary matchup. I hope Kai Kara France has worked on his grappling, because I am pretty damn convinced that is Amir's game plan. I don't think he has much of a different... He's got 2 submission wins in the UFC, 1 decision win, and his most recent one was a KO/TKO. He definitely has striking. Probably not at the exact same level as Kai Kara France has, but there is always the submission that is dangerous, that poses a threat towards Kai Kara France. But Kai Kara France, he's no like, it's not like he doesn't know anything. He does have a pretty impressive takedown defense percentage, which is at 88, and he's gotten a couple of submission wins in his pro MMA career. So it's gonna be an exciting one. Amir Albazi, he is ranked number 7 in the goddamn flyweight division, and Kai Kara France, he's number 3. I'm pretty sure that if Kai Kara France maybe takes 2 wins from here on out, takes this win against Amir Albazi, takes another win against a top contender, then I wouldn't see why he would get another title shot. Okay, first of all, it would just, if Moreno's still the champion, then it would be a nice little trilogy fight for the gentleman and Kai Kara France. I'm just saying, I really think like the mentality that Kai Kara France possesses, where he's so selfless, it's he doesn't think like, oh, it's just me, I can get this cash, I'm gonna be a superstar. He's just kind of thinking like, fuck, I just want to be better. Sure, the money comes with and all that, but he just wants to be a better fighter every single day. I just love the way this guy carries himself. He's super humble. And I don't know, man. He's like 29 years old, but he's got the wisdom of like a mid-30s MMA fighter. So I personally think, flyweight division has not been necessarily known for super long UFC careers, not like heavyweight champions or former heavyweight champions. But I think that Kai Kara France is here to stay, and just he's a savage, man. He's got that like mode that you switch on when it's time to fight, time to bang it out in the freaking octagon, and he just switches up the level and mentality. So, bam. I'm excited for this weekend for sure. Okay, this guy's one of my favorite UFC fighters. And sure, it's not the most popular division, but man, I will tell you, it gets pretty freaking exciting with the speed they have and they possess. Okay, I think that's all the UFC talk I got. I just wanted to talk about Kai Kara-France. That's pretty much it. Nurmagomedov is fighting. Khabib's cousin is fighting. First fight of the main card, and otherwise a bunch of other fellas getting there. Pretty sure there's a good amount of UFC debuts this weekend. I'm excited for. I'm always excited for UFC debuts because you never know. You never know. This is like maybe the beginning to a legendary journey. You never freaking know. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about UFC and MMA. Very exciting stuff. Maybe I look real quick at the events. One more time. Upcoming events. Let's just maybe a little bit, give us a taste. Martin Vettori versus Cannonier, June 18th. That's pretty damn exciting. Emmett versus Topuria. Right. That's at the end of the month. This looks pretty. Ooh, Tabitha Ricky's fighting. She's a fine looking lady. Okay, anyways, that looks like a pretty fucking fun card. There is freaking, how can I forget? Nunes is fighting next week. Nunes is fighting. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush next week. Okay, never mind. There is definitely something to look forward to. Chris Curtis is fighting as well. Damn, they're pretty. Chris Curtis, freaking. I think Chris Curtis should be a goddamn main card fighter, but I don't know. I could be wrong. What the fuck? I could be wrong, but I think he deserves a freaking main card placement. But okay, I could be wrong. Nunes fighting Irene Aldana. I don't know. She's Mexican. You know, at this point, if there's a Mexican contending for a female Mexican contending for the freaking championship, then I don't know. I don't even want to doubt it anymore because Alexa Grasso, I'm a fan. I'm a freaking fan, and that's how it is. Sean Strickland's going to be fighting, but that's in July. Sheesh. Hello. Man, everything's lagging out a little bit. But that's all I'm going to say about UFC. I can't talk too much about UFC anymore. Shit, we're going to little rankings. Action. Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah, I know. Oh, Pantoja. That's who it is. All right. Pantoja. That's the guy. But I think Pantoja is fighting Brandon Moreno next in the 125 division. And then something happens. And then blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. We'll deal with that for now. We'll go with that. That's UFC, ladies and gentlemen. And next up, I want to talk a little bit about the F1, man. I feel like I need to talk a little bit about the F1 because yeah, sure. The Red Bull, Adrian Newey, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, freaking Christian Horner. They're superstars right now. They're the fucking they're running F1 right now. You know, the Red Bull has won every single race. of the season so far. If it's not Max Verstappen, it's Sergio Perez. If it ain't Sergio Perez, it's Max Verstappen. Okay. I know that's just how we can just look at it, and then that's that. Let's not look at anything else. Fuck it, they're the ones who are winning, whatever. But listen, I think it's deeper than that. I think there's a lot to analyze here, okay? Because at the end of the day, there is a market cap. Yeah, sure, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, they're pretty high budget there, and whatnot. Yeah, sure. That's who we can give a shit about. But I'd like to remind you that everyone else as well, everyone else in the racing game, in the F1 game, they got a lot of, everything's high stakes. Everything really is high stakes, okay? It ain't so freaking simple over here, okay? Yes, Red Bull probably already won Constructors. That's without a doubt. Constructors it's already won. Red Bull is sitting at 249 points, and second place is Aston Martin with 120 points. Mercedes having a nice little battle right now with Aston Martin. I think it's a really healthy competition, considering Aston Martin does have a Mercedes power unit, and they're doing better than Mercedes, right? Which is rarely do you find yourself in an instance like that where the supplier, the originator, is actually struggling more than someone you're just selling the services to. Aston Martin being real damn impressive this season. Or if you want to make the argument, sure, you could say that Fernando Alonso is the impressive part of Aston Martin, which he absolutely is. I'm not taking a single thing out of the great achievements that Fernando Alonso has been able to produce. But I want you to at least understand that there's levels to this. There is genuine levels to racecraft. I think racecraft is almost like a word that a lot of people, the commentators, the analysts, the fans are forgetting. There is actual racecraft. There is something about how you just drive a car fundamentally better, and you have a better feel for the physics and everything else than other people. Because, I personally think, and this is just me, I haven't watched some fucking documentary research fucking paper about it, right? But I personally think the reason why Lewis Hamilton was one of the best, to ever do it and won so many consecutive titles and broke all those records, is because I think that man was so good at the stats. He was so good. He had such a solid team of engineers and communication where, even if he didn't necessarily have the best feel for the car and the braking zone or whatever, he would be able to do his best, study all the statistics and the information that him and his team gathered, and then he was able to translate that into the car setup, and then he was able to put everything, all the knowledge that he gains from all the stats and the information, he is able to translate it, okay? That's why I think Lewis Hamilton was so damn good at what he did, right? But then I think there are drivers, someone like Max Verstappen, for example, where his real skill is the fact that he just knows how to drive a damn car better. I think what he did in Monaco the past weekend was something that truly, I don't think people fucking understand how goddamn impressive this guy is. Okay? We're not talking about the race, right? Sure, the race was impressive. He never made a mistake. He reacted well to the rainy weather. He, all that. He did that well, okay? And that's pretty damn impressive to begin with. But let's just fucking talk about qualifying. Like, for a fucking second, let's just talk about how qualifying went down. Because I watched the whole session. And, honestly, of course I'm rooting for Fernando Alonso. Of course I am. Of course I'm rooting for the underdog. This guy's much older than, Max Verstappen. His car is not necessarily faster, but he's just savage. I want Fernando Alonso to be fucking pole, right? Of course. But at the same time, every time that I think that, I also want at the same time to Max Verstappen just to like further solidify how fucking good he is, right? And qualifying comes along, and we get to Q3, and we get to the last laps, and bam, Fernando Alonso last lap puts in a freaking absolutely beautiful lap, right? He puts in a beautiful lap, provisional pole position, right? Aston Martin boys, the boys in green, celebrating Fernando Alonso's pole position, given the fact that the pole will most likely translate into a race win, especially in Monaco, right? Or at least the chances are more in your favor. Okay, Max Verstappen, he crosses the starting line. He's ready to do his last lap. Fernando Alonso already improved and bettered his, already took a step ahead of Max Verstappen's previous lap. The pressure's all on Max Verstappen. First sector, yellow. Doesn't improve on his own time. Doesn't score a purple sector. Nothing. Okay? Second sector, right? Again, yellow. Second sector, doesn't improve on his own time. Doesn't find more time, doesn't do nothing. Okay? He's at a point where it's all in the last sector, which is the shortest goddamn sector in Monaco. Right? The shortest sector in Monaco. You could argue the least technical. There's that one. There's that one very important turn. I forget which fucking turn it is. Forgive me, F1 nerds, please. Okay, I'm trying my best, but he is down 0.2 going into the last sector. Okay, 0.2 is a lot of freaking time in terms of F1 and especially pole positions. If you think about, how tight the competition was last year with the pole positions with Leclerc and Verstappen. I mean, it was usually the difference was like a tenth. The tenth was the difference, and Verstappen is freaking down 0.2 going into the last sector. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't, because he's the best. He's the best right now. No one can fucking challenge this guy. No one is on his level. So what does he do? Last sector. He nails everything. Picture perfect. I was watching it. There was not a single freaking, understeer, oversteer moment, wheel spin moment. Just picture perfect. Doesn't even make contact with the wall, but was so damn close he might as well have made contact with the wall. Just picture perfect rotation of the wheels, everything, puts it all in. Gain 0.3 in the last sector. Beat Fernando Alonso's pole lap by 0.1 in the last sector. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, you know what I'm saying right here? You know what I'm trying to communicate with you? Max Verstappen's on another level right now. Max Verstappen cannot be touched, okay? I think the probability of Red Bull winning every single race this season, it's low. It's low. I'm actually not going to say it's impossible because they do have a pretty damn good fucking car, okay? And at least that's one thing very similar, slightly similar to Aston Martin. There are races where one driver is performing much better than the other driver. Verstappen usually, some bad luck rains upon him, and then Perez picks up the pieces, gets that win, and then Verstappen's a couple places behind, or he's still up on the podium. Aston Martin, it's very Aston Martin too. You can have races where Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, they're pretty stuck together, but then there are some other races where Stroll just can't keep up with Fernando Alonso's experience and everything like that. Racecraft, like I said, I think that's when you see the most clearly. Like, you want to talk about the term racecraft. I think Fernando Alonso just has a crazy level of racecraft that I personally think only someone like Verstappen or like Lando Norris, who else? I'd argue Sainz, but I feel like the problem with Sainz is that he just makes mistakes. He has the racecraft, but he just, man, I don't know. I don't want to even say anything bad about Sainz because I'm convinced he's the best in the fucking field. But I don't know. I don't know. Let's not get into that. I'm getting a little sidetracked here. But yeah, truthfully, Max Verstappen's on another level. Fernando Alonso is on another level compared to his teammate. But as of right now, Fernando Alonso, the great thing is he came back for the money. He came back because the opportunity presented itself. He's like, frick it. I can grab a paycheck, a pretty sizable one, do some building for the team. But then he got blessed signing with Aston Martin, and they actually gave him a really, really good car that he can actually do a little bit more than just, sit back and relax. He can actually challenge. And don't get me wrong, I have all the faith in the world that he's going to win a race this season, which everyone's rooting for. It's pretty much that, okay, if Sergio Perez or Verstappen don't do well, then maybe Fernando Alonso can win. And that's very likely the case. I mean, every team at least is going to catch it's going to catch a certain amount of bad luck. Okay, it's about how they deal with it. And sure, if you put yourself in a position where the luck doesn't affect you as much, I mean, that's what top teams are. Something like Mercedes, for example. They're a perfect example of that. Mercedes, on the other hand, Mercedes, just because their strategy is so good, they're above Ferrari right now. I don't know what it is about Ferrari that it's like it fundamentally isn't a good car when you have to drive it for more than one lap. Like, there's something so fundamentally wrong with how the tires wear out and everything like that, so that it's more about just managing. Every time fucking race starts on a Sunday, you're just like, okay, how Like, how well can Ferrari manage the tires and the degradation and all the pace and all that? So then that, like, hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't fall too far down the freaking line. They always get into Q3, and Sainz and Leclerc, they're such good damn drivers. At least when it comes to qualifying, they're so fast that they're always going to do pretty decent when it comes to Saturday qualifying sessions. But it's when the race starts, man. It's when the race starts and you got to keep the pace up with the other cars that are surrounding you or your competition for the weekend. And then you got to do the pit stops at the right time, and then everything, and then expecting the tire degradation, all that. Ferrari just don't have the pieces together. At least there's a weird split this year with the midfield and then the top, like the higher field, the top 3 or the top 2 teams, and then the lower field. I mean, there's a weird split now. There's no there's 2 teams up top and then like a bunch of teams in the middle and then like a few teams that are much lower. Like, it isn't like that. At least like the points might seem a little bit differ, but if you watch the actual races, like, seriously, if one Mercedes or one Ferrari or one Aston Martin or one Red Bull has something wrong or catches bad luck, then instantly you can see a Williams or an AlphaTauri or Alfa Romeo or a Haas up there, or a McLaren. And I think, okay, so let's talk about the constructor standings. Like I told you, Red Bull is all the way up there, 249. They most likely win this. It's not even a competition. But right now, there is a very tight race with Mercedes and Aston Martin. Aston Martin coming in at second place with 120 points, and Mercedes coming in at number 3 with 119 points. So only one point under Aston Martin. I really think that competition is very tight. I really think so, because Mercedes, they don't quite have the pace Aston Martin do, but they have very good teamwork, and often with the case with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, they are very stuck together. They have like a certain amount of consistency. Their levels are very, very similar in qualifying and in the race, so they're pretty close to each other. If they're not stuck together, then it's not that many places of a difference. So they always have that guarantee of, similar kind of results, at least within the teammates. But Aston Martin has that problem where Fernando Alonso is usually like overperforming, and Jesus Christ, like he does really well, and then Stroll is playing catch up, right? And then it's how well Stroll can keep up with his, veteran championship winning teammate, which is the big question. And, I think you can't go too hard on Stroll. Like, I don't think there's any, you're not going to do anything if you go hard on Stroll. Seriously, you're not, it's not going to, like, what? You think Stroll is going to freaking retire anytime soon? No. Lawrence Stroll still owns the goddamn team, and he wants his son being there. I mean, of course, if there's some freaking crazy, heartbreaking freaking positioning something with the win or the constructor standings at the end of the season, then sure. Or like if that happens not this season and then the next season as well, then maybe Lawrence Stroll is going to be like, hey, listen, kid, I've done everything I can for you. You have, and all that, and then maybe we got to start reconsidering things. Yes, but for now, I don't think anyone, you're not going to do anything by saying, oh yeah, Stroll's just so shit compared to Fernando Alonso. No, Fernando Alonso is that damn good. Okay, he's that damn fucking good at driving a freaking F1 car, right? He's been driving an F1 car since the 2000s, okay? Since Lance was still sucking on his mother's tit. That's how long Fernando Alonso has been racing and driving at this high of the Formula One level. So you can't trash talk Stroll. I personally don't think so, at least in this context. But it's a very interesting competition that Aston Martin, Aramco Mercedes has against their rivals this season, which is Mercedes. It's very interesting. I honestly would have expected Mercedes to maybe make some more drastic improvements when it comes to the car. But then again, we are at the end of the day in the first fourth of the season. We're in, round 8 out of round 23. So one third, a little over 1/3 of the season. But there's still a long, long road to go and plenty of technological advancements or improvements in the cars. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Mercedes being able to do that. I'm just thinking that, man, I think Aston Martin are on a pretty good level right now. Like, I think Lawrence Stroll is doing something like, if you're not going to give Lance Stroll props for being a racer, someone give Lawrence Stroll props for being a fucking genius businessman. This is Aston Martin's second season in F1, and they're second right now in the Constructors' Championship race. Okay? That's pretty damn unheard of. Okay? So, and, Lawrence Stroll, he's such a, this intimidating figure that's like, okay, but he's making all the damn right business decisions. And what is his goal? To make fucking money wherever he's investing his money. He's trying to get the biggest return for his investment. And right now it's looking like he is, right? He owns a stake at Aston Martin as well. Like, this is his move. This is his sole focus right now in terms of his business or his investment portfolio or whatever. So I think he's doing a pretty damn good job when it comes to that. And for all I know right now, Aston Martin is just, in terms of reputation, is just only going upwards. I'm not trashing Aston Martin at all. I see a lot of all these social media influencers always posting about Aston Martins and all that, and I get it. I really get it. They're trying to do something different, and I really see it. I really see it. So it's something that's kind of crazy right now. Mercedes playing catch up. I'm sure it's going to be a close one with Aston Martin and Mercedes. I really think so. Lance is, I'm sure Fernando Alonso, he's not being a selfish prick because he understands that he can actually help out Lance Stroll more. Probably, gives himself as well, better, puts himself in a better relationship with Lawrence Stroll. So I don't think Fernando Alonso is particularly scared of Lance Stroll challenging him. I think they got a good dynamic there in Aston Martin. I think they got a very good dynamic there in Mercedes. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe also, I'm not ruling this out, but then, hopefully Ferrari can make a few more improvements, at least in terms of race pace and Sunday performances, that they can they can keep on catching up and always pose a threat, because they're not that far away from Aston Martin and Mercedes. They're currently 30 points away, and again, Ferrari has had a good amount of bad luck so far. I'm not gonna be hold back and be biased and shit, but I really think that Sainz, it's bitten him up the ass a little bit with his speed. He just wants to be as fast as possible all the time, and sometimes it bites him a little bit harder than it should. So Ferrari, I think they still have a good amount of way to go, and I'm not ruling them out at all. to possibly still finish on the top 3 of constructor standings at the end of the season. But that is only if they can get that Sunday race pace improved on. Let's go down further. I think after that 4th position of Aston Martin and Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull on top, then we kind of have this weird competition with Alpine, actually 35 points right now, grabbed a good amount of it last race because Esteban Ocon scored a podium in Monaco. I've never been the biggest fan of Esteban Ocon, but hey, cheers to that guy. He has had horrible luck so far, and Gasly, at least people feeling like Gasly doing a little bit better than Esteban Ocon, but bam, Esteban Ocon firing back with a podium in Monaco, driving really, really well throughout the weekend, and, you know, almost up there with the Aston Martin and the Red Bulls, at least in Monaco. So, bam, Alpine at least coming in at 35 points, 5th place right now. And then the team after that is McLaren Mercedes. Now, here's the very important and very, very interesting thing about McLaren right now. Because, yes, McLaren, they don't have the best car right now. But this is when you really, really, really see the skill level of their drivers. First of all, the fact that Piastri is so damn close to Lando Norris is fucking crazy, man. Because first of all, Lando Norris is insane when it comes to extracting everything out of the car. And the fact that Oscar Piastri is that close every single weekend to his teammate, and his teammate's been in F1 since 2018. This is like his teammate's 5th year in, and this is Oscar Piastri's rookie season in F1. Holy moly, ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand. I think at this point, I can tell you, I think McLaren has the best driver lineup in the whole freaking F1 this season. I think so. I think if McLaren, if Piastri and Lando Norris would be driving the Red Bull car right now, the points would be up in the 300s. And they would be fighting head to head for the title every single race. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even, it would be freaking like 2020 Mercedes season all over again. Like, just, if because I'm mind blown by Piastri and Lando Norris right now. I really am. The fact that McLaren has all in all 17 points in the constructors stand is insane. Because I think, not for nothing, but let's say if we're just talking about like driver salary, I think the lowest driver salary like combined of 2 drivers is Haas, and that's Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg. I think they actually like combined they have the lowest salary out of like the teammates. And I think if those 2 drivers were driving the McLaren would be number 10 when it comes to the constructors standings. That's just me being truthful. Not to downplay Nico Hülkenberg or Kevin Magnussen, because actually out of the low level constructors, I would throw McLaren in there, but Haas, Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, and Williams, I think they're all kind of in the same group. I think that Haas has been doing really exceptional. Haas, they have 8 points. Alfa Romeo has 6. Alfa Tauri has 2, and Williams Mercedes has 1 so far. And that's like position 7, 8, 9, 10 of the Constructors' Championship. I personally think Haas are doing really, really well. I think that, again, with the bad luck, they catch it, and, they're in a position where reacting to, the bad luck just because of budget problems, they can't react fully as much as they want to. But I think they've been doing really, really well considering the drivers. They're just vets. Sorry, I pressed the button that muted it. They're vets that have been, out of F1 and back in, and they're obviously not getting paid like crazy, but they're doing everything they can. I really think that Haas have something good going on, and they have a really cool car. They've got some really good I really think they have really cool sponsors like Palm Angels and Chipotle. Like, I'm all about that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just those brands, like, they resonate within me. I don't know, I'm fucking this age. I don't know. Like, Haas, I feel like they're doing everything correct right now with what they've got. And but I just, coming back to everything, like I was saying, like McLaren, I just think the drivers, they're on another level. Like, I think McLaren the car in itself is on the same level as Haas and Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and Williams. But I just think Lando Norris and Piastri are that damn good, man. They're that damn good at driving, at extracting every part of the car, at communicating with their engineers to get the setup. Like, it's crazy. I think it's sure you can say, like I've said it at the start of the season, it's a bit of a shame that McLaren, they haven't been able to give the car that you would want such drivers like Norris and Piastri to be driving. But my goodness gracious, they're doing everything. Like, they're doing everything correct. Lando Norris, Piastri, I forgot what race it was, but I remember last weekend, I think it was FP3 or something, the McLaren like head engineer or chief executive, I forgot who it was. I think it is the Andrea something guy. He announced that they're gonna come with an upgrade. I forget when. I don't think it's for this weekend. I think it's slightly later. Oh, I think it's for Austria. Yeah. So there's Spain next this weekend, which I will get into, and then they have Canada in 2 weeks, and then after that they take a bit of a break, and then for Austria they come back. I think it was that they're gonna have an upgrade for Austria, which was round 10. The McLaren. So, and the dude said that it's a completely different car. It's like fundamentally completely new. So who the hell know? Like, maybe we'll see McLaren like consistently in Q3, and then challenging Alpine, and who knows, maybe they'll bring a fight to Ferrari as well. Like, I can imagine something like that. Because I really feel like McLaren understand it too. They understand that they have two very damn good drivers that are super talented, super young, full of the learning and developing energy and all that. So, man, I'm excited. This weekend we go to Spain, and usually when you say Spain, I'm like, fuck, I'm not down with it. But this weekend I am, because thank you. They finally redesigned the track for this year. They finally did a little tweak, and the biggest tweak they did was there's this, usually in Spain, they had this final chicane in the last sector that was just the biggest, like, useless, what the hell, why is it there? It just made the whole thing boring. Like, if it wasn't there would be so much more of an opportunity to do overtake. But now finally there is, because out of pretty much turn 12, which is a long U-turn, pretty much at the end of second sector, if you which is a DRS zone. The end of the second sector is a DRS zone going into sector 3. If you're close, if you're chasing going into the start of sector 3, and then you're on the tail of a car, and then someone messes up a little bit coming out of the exit of turn 12, then turn 12 all the way to 13, 14, and then the finishing line and the straight, to restart the lap, which is a long straight, that's all going to be competitive now. Like, there's a very, very good chance for you to do an overtake coming out of, the last part of sector 3. So it's going to be much more fun now. I've always really liked the first sector of Spain, the long straight going into a really, really long, mellow curve, which is perfect opportunity for cars to, if drivers got the balls and they can find the grip, go down the outside and find the grip and, try to do an overtake going into sector 2 or turn 4. So this weekend, I am freaking excited. Okay, finally they took away the chicane. I mean, literally, that was the biggest. Like, I genuinely think out of the years that I follow F1, I've skipped Spain just because of that chicane. Like, it literally didn't make it competitive at all. No overtakes, no nothing. But now, man, the action is looking pretty promising. Okay, that's round 8. That's coming up this weekend. It's going to be exciting. Spanish fans are going to be lit for Fernando Alonso and also Sainz. So it's going to be great energy. And after that, we take a 2-week break. We go to Canada. And then after Canada is always an exciting place to go. And then after that, we go back, come back to Europe. And then we do a bit of a Europe tour with Austria, UK, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy. So after this weekend, and then we go to Canada, and then we come back, and then we have round 10 to 15, which is all in Europe. Good old European tour and whatnot. But anyways, that's all I have to say about F1. And just briefly, last sport that I want to talk about, which I'm just mind blown about how the season has gone. The NBA. We're going into the championships now. We have the Heat, the number 8 seed Heat, Miami Heat, going against the number 1 seed in the West, Denver Nuggets. I mean, it's just crazy, man. I think it's just crazy, man. Like, I really do think the way the playoffs has worked out so far in the NBA this season has been absolutely nuts. Let me see if I can find a little playoff bracket of how things have gone. Bracket, bam. Okay, let's see. Does ESPN have something nice? Yeah. So, Western Conference, we started off with Denver Nuggets going against Minnesota Timberwolves, Phoenix Suns going against LA Clippers, Sacramento Kings going against Golden State, Memphis Grizzlies going against LA Lakers. And in the Eastern Conference, we had Milwaukee Bucks going against Miami Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers versus New York Knicks, Philadelphia 76ers going against Brooklyn Nets, and Boston Celtics going against Atlanta Hawks. Crazy lineup. The play-in tournament itself was also crazy. Plenty of teams came out short, and plenty of teams were able to capitalize. So in the first round, the biggest story was 8th seed Miami Heat, 4-1 win over the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think it had a lot to do with the Bucks offense. I really think that Miami Heat defense was just that on point that, they figured some chink in the armor out, and that was that. Fuck your first seed. Fuck Giannis Antetokounmpo. Freaking all that. It was game over. Like, as soon as Miami figured it out and Jimmy Butler came in hot with the Heat, then I think that was that. Like, it was really like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So that was that. And then we go Cleveland Cavaliers versus New York. It could have gone each way, but Knicks were lit. They won 4-1. And Philadelphia 76ers, they always looked pretty decent, at least compared to Brooklyn. And they swept them. That was the only sweep of the first round. Boston went against Atlanta Hawks, and at the end of the day, they came out on top 4-2. Denver Nuggets, they lost one game to the Timberwolves, but they took care of business. Same thing with Phoenix Suns against the LA Clippers. They took care of business. The big story in there was two big stories coming out of the West, at least. It was the fact that Sacramento Kings, they went all the way to Game 7 with Golden State Warriors, and a lot of people had Kings to win that series. Like, I mean, they were at a higher seed, and they definitely did better in the regular season than the Golden State. But I think that was when the experience came along. And same thing with Memphis Grizzlies versus LA Lakers. I mean, it was just the veterans, the playoff experience of the players. With the Warriors, it was that core of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, And then same thing with Lakers. It was, LeBron and Anthony Davis against the young guys, young core of John Moran, Dylan Brooks, and all that. So, Lakers were able to upset the Memphis Grizzlies, and Golden State were able to upset the Sacramento Kings. But then going into conference semifinals, I think this was a little bit more clear-cut. 3 out of the 4 series ended up in a 4-2. I gotta say, when Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors, I was very, very surprised. I think if we're talking about the legacy and all the storylines and everything like that, I think that I said this on my Instagram story. If Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors and LeBron James and Steph Curry, neither of them or only one of them make the playoffs after this year's offseason, then okay, I am willing to admit LeBron's better than Steph Curry. I am. I really am, because I was that damn impressed how the Lakers were. Of course I can make the excuse, Lakers, they were bigger guys. The Warriors, they didn't have the size on them. It was bully ball or whatever the hell. But I'm not going to do that. I got to respect the king. I got to respect all that. I still think Curry has to be considered on the pretty same level as LeBron James, even though LeBron James has the years on top of him. But still, very damn impressed by how the Lakers at least performed in the semifinals of the conferences. Denver Nuggets, pretty convincing. I think Jokic and Jamal Murray, all those guys, they're just on another level. So, they lost 2 games to the Suns, but at the end of the day, they were able to take care of business. And Philadelphia 76ers got a little closer. They went all the way to Game 7 with the Celtics. I think it had a lot to do with, Boston. They have a deeper bench than the 76ers have. Sure, 76ers, they have a really impressive starting roster, but when it comes to the bench players, then the Celtics got a little bit more on top of that. And Joel Embiid did voice his opinions about that, saying that, I can't do something with but I'm not gonna quote him because I'm gonna quote him wrong. And you should always think about the context. So I'm not gonna do that. But Boston Celtics were able to come out on top against the 76ers in Game 7, and then Miami Heat 4-2 over New York Knicks. I mean, New York Knicks, they definitely put up a fight, but at the end of the day, Heat, I think there's the Heat, they just, at least defensively, they're, at least in the beginning, I watched a good amount of games the first round because there were early games, but at this point, they all start at 3:30 in the morning. So it's tough. It's tough for me to watch, and even if I do wake up, it's with all the commercials and the timeouts, especially in the the way the NBA is broadcasted. It's a little bit tough to stay awake 100% of the game, but I just think the Heat, what they do so well is that they defend like crazy, and then when they successfully defend, they also successfully capitalize on the offense. I genuinely think that's kind of like their it's not like they're just always just buckets, but it's just the fact that they, even when there is a mistake, they've kind of got a cushion to land on. If someone misses, they can rebound real quick and all that. So I think that's what Miami does so well. And then when we came, oh Jesus, I gotta tell you, that's when you notice the difference between the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. Because the Western Conference, although in the regular season it was the Wild West, at the end of the day, I think the Nuggets, they're just on another level right now. Because Denver Nuggets, they swept the LA Lakers. Lakers had no answer to the Nuggets game plan. Each 4 of the games they played, there was barely any answer. And Denver took care of business and got themselves the easy conference finals to, go into the NBA finals. But on the other hand, in the East, Miami Heat and Boston, man, they went, that was a grueler, because Miami Heat, they go up 3-0 to begin with, on fire. No one expected it because everyone kind of knew how good Boston Celtics were. Like, they went against tough competition. Like, they have the most playoff games played so far, and man, they went 2 Game 7s during the offseason, man. That's crazy. Game 7 with 76ers, and then Miami Heat, they take a 3-0 lead. Everyone's thinking that they're just going to easily sweep the guys, sweep the Boston boys, and Boston boys came back. They came all the way back to a Game 7. They almost pulled off the first ever reverse sweep in NBA playoff history. I forget the exact number, but there's something with the stat that is 0 to 120 or something in NBA history of coming back from a 3-0, loss in the NBA, like in the playoff series. Boston were close, man. Celtics were really close. You could argue that Miami should have won already in Game 6. Like, it shouldn't have gone to Game 7, but Derek White clutches up and it gets a rebound from a missed shot, and then it forced Game 7, and then Game 7, in the Garden as well in Boston. I mean, it got really, really damn close. But I think at the end of the day, the fact that Miami Heat were able to beat the Celtics at the end of the day in Game 7 quite convincingly, it just shows that, okay, Miami Heat, they were slipping for a second there, but they still have all the pieces in the puzzle to, really be an NBA Finals team. And so here we go. I genuinely think tonight is the first game of the the finals. I could be wrong. Yeah, tonight or tomorrow morning at 3:30. Let's see if I got the motivation to get up. I don't have a morning shift, so maybe I can actually pull it off. Let's see. But anyways, it's gonna be a real interesting one. I love both teams, to be honest. I think Jokic is a fucking basketball wizard, along with Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is a freaking just, if there's a Western Conference version of Jimmy Butler, which is like playoff Jimmy Buckets, like a guy who just turns it up when it matters the most, I think Jamal Murray is that guy in the West. Man, it's going to be really interesting. Let's see if Jimmy Butler's got what it takes. At the end of the day, I think I am rooting for Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. I really like Miami Heat. Tyler Hero is reportedly going to come back for Game 3 of the playoffs. So it's going to be real interesting. I think Bam Adebayo is a crazy good player, crazy good team player, is almost like underrated, even though he's won most defensive player of the year. But I still think that he needs to be like up there with the all-stars and all that, like just superstars in the NBA. And same with Nuggets, man. They just have such good talented players and they do everything well. And Aaron Gordon, such a savage, like all that. Just freaking everyone, Max Strus, freaking just everyone, freaking Kyle Lowry going there, and just everything. I'm so excited for the finals. I'm going to be going along. I'll keep you guys updated. This is Ballin' at What Cost? Comeback episode, 1st of June. Summer 2023. I fucking love you guys. I love this podcast so much. I love Ballin' at What Cost. This is my passion. It puts a smile on my face. I love you guys. Ballin' at What Cost? See ya.